Is it worth it? Is being in a distance relationship worth it? What is up, besties and babes? It's your girl Keelan, and I am back with another video. Welcome to all the new viewers, to all the new subscribers, to all the returning viewers and subscribers. Welcome back to another Girl Talk Wednesday. But before we start with Girl Talk Wednesday, I do want to say that there was not a video out last week. But there will be a video out, or a vlog out this week. There was just not a video because your girl was how should I say, my footage got lost. There was just a footage error. So yeah, but we're up and running again. I think I found my everyday makeup look. What do you guys think? Should I change some things? The eyebrows, I just don't know how to perfect my eyebrows, but this is as close as I got them to perfection. But yeah, anyways, I'm not gonna ramble anymore. Let's get to this girl talk. So today we're going to talk about distance relationships or long distance relationships of that, whatever. Distance relationships. This is something that I can speak on because I am currently in a distance relationship. It's about a 2-3 hour distance between us, so not too far. But we don't get to see each other every day. We go lately we've been doing okay, but it used to be like we would go months without seeing each other. But now we've gotten a little bit better. We are, we go like weeks, or sometimes a week or two without seeing each other. So yeah. But the first thing I want to say is they require a lot of work. Relationships require a lot of work in general, but like distance relationships require just a little bit of extra work, just because you don't get to see that person every day. Like, so you're gonna want to talk to them every single day. You're gonna want to just spend as much time with them as you can when you are around them. But then like there's a lot that goes into that in itself too, because work schedules and life outside of the relationship. So they require a lot of work and patience. Patience is like a number one thing that distance relationships require, on top of another big one, trust. If you ever see me looking down, y'all know I got my notes on deck. But trust is another big thing, again, with relationships, but especially with distance relationships, because if you have no trust in a distance relationship, distance relationships is not for the weak. Honestly, it took me and Trey a while to get on the same footing in our relationship, to get on the same like wavelength, and now that we're on it, it's great. But it took us a while to get here. Like, we just started, like, it made a year of us officially talking back to each other a couple days ago on Thanksgiving, but it took maybe 8 or 9 months of that year for us to get past the arguing stage, to get past the it's okay if we don't talk every second of, because our schedules, and to actually understand and get on the same, footing. It took maybe 8 or 9 months of doing, like, getting past the long text messages, and it took a lot of work to get to where we are now. So distance relationships require work. They require work. Communication is key. Communication is so important, and again, it's so important in a relationship in general, but it is definitely important in a distance relationship for the simple fact that, again, y'all don't get to see each other as much as a couple that sees each other every day. Y'all don't get to see each other. So if y'all don't get to see each other and y'all are not communicating, the relationship pretty much just falls off. Y'all grow apart. Y'all are creating more distance. So y'all have to have some type of communication. And it cannot get I won't say boring, but it cannot get repetitive. Being repetitive, and I can speak from experience, me and Trey, like it got repetitive. It got to the point where we were just so bored to like we kind of were okay with not talking because we were just so bored of each other. Like it was, yeah. You have to listen to your partner. That is a big issue that Trey and I were having. Once we actually sat down and listened to each other and not listen to say, oh, well, I was right, and in the end we were both right, and we both figured out that we were both right, then our communication, our relationship just started to turn around. Everything is just, you know, chef's kiss. You know, I couldn't ask for a better relationship. And that's honest. That's speaking from, yeah. Another thing I want to say, a big thing I'm going to say is do not overthink it. Do not overthink when your partner is not responding. Do not overthink when your partner is taking a few extra minutes to respond, because they have a life outside of this relationship. Work gets in the way. Sleep schedules are different, especially if you're in different time zones like me and Trey are. We're in different time zones, so I may be up an hour or two earlier than he is, and some days he may be up an hour or two earlier than I am, just because we're in different time zones. So work gets in the way, sleep schedules kind of get in the way. You know, if they have things going on like with their family, you know, things happen. Do not overthink it. If you have trust issues, or if you are an overthinker, then a distance relationship may not be for you, because in my opinion, I love being in a distance relationship, but I cannot wait until me and Trey move in together, because this is not for the weak. Is it worth it? Is being in a distance relationship worth it? Yes, for the right person, it's worth it. If you don't have the right person, it's not worth it. And that's just being 100% honest, because there are sacrifices that both of you guys have to make. There are things that both of you guys have to be willing to accept. There are things that come with being in a distance relationship that you just have to cherish the times that you have together, because you don't get to spend every minute of every second of every day together. So it's just a lot that comes with the territory of being in a distance relationship, and that's just all honesty. And then another thing I want to talk about is establishing boundaries. Now, in a distance relationship, in any relationship, in anything, you should always, sorry, there's something tickling my nose. But you should always establish boundaries. Now, a big thing that you need to talk about with your partner as far as established boundaries is y'all communication times, y'all couple check-ins, y'all things like that. That's what I mean by like established boundaries, established things like that, because if you go into any relationship, but especially a distance relationship, and y'all never talk about these type of things, it gets hard and it gets rocky. And I'm speaking from experience, because me and Trey and I, let me talk proper. Trey and I, before we actually had that expectation talk, and before we actually started to establish boundaries in our relationship, we just kind of jumped into it, and it was rocky. It was horrible. If I'm being honest, it was going the way that our old relationship ended. Well, not ended, but the toxic part of it. It was bad. And we had to actually sit down and have these talks about boundaries and establishing boundaries with each other, and boundaries in our relationship, and establishing and setting our expectations, and you know what we expect of each other, and what we expect out of this relationship. Before we did that, we were not getting along. We just like, we weren't disrespectful to each other, and by any means, just because we're not disrespectful in general, but we kind of like unknowingly crossed boundaries because we never talked about boundaries. So if I joked a certain way and Trey didn't like it, he wouldn't tell me, because I don't know, he just wouldn't tell me, and vice versa. But once we talked about boundaries and we set those boundaries, it became okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have did that. Now that I know, I won't do it anymore. So yeah, establishing boundaries is a major, major part of any relationship, but especially a distance or long distance relationship. Talk about things that you don't like and that make you uncomfortable. That goes against what's establishing boundaries. And then once you've established those boundaries, stand on those boundaries, enforce those boundaries. Because if you don't and you let it slide, it's going to continue to slide, and then you're going to continue to let it slide because it's just in a continuous loop of, well, I let it slide before, so now, but no, you have to stand on those boundaries. You have to, there's a lot that goes with it, but you have to stand on those boundaries, and you have to enforce those boundaries, because if you don't, it's like you're getting walked all over in whatever aspect. The couple check-ins. Trey and I have couple check-ins. We kind of like just do it whenever we both kind of just vibe off of each other. So whenever, Trey is kind of in a down mood, I'll go like, yo, it's time for a couple check-in. Are we okay? Are you okay? How are you mentally? How are you physically, emotionally? What's going on? What are you thinking about? And vice versa. He does it more than I do it. I do it piggybacking off of him. Trey's always the one that does it first, just because Trey knows, how I am, and Trey does not like to show like his softer side. So the only way to get him to do it or to talk about things is to ask it in a way that's not asking it, if that makes sense. So yeah, couple check-ins are a must. You have to have that, because you can think that you and your partner are good, and this is something that's come from experience. Trey and I we didn't always do couple check-ins, but once we started doing it, it just became our relationship just became better, for the simple fact that we were on the same footing again. Like, there would be times where I would, and it was my fault, I didn't communicate it. I would literally be upset about something Trey said, and I never voiced that I was upset about it. So then he would think we were good, and I would kind of have this, I'm not gonna say attitude, but I would just have this distance, put this like distance between us and this wall between us, and he would be like, "Are we okay? Did I upset you?" And I would then that's when we would talk about it, But before, like, it could be days before, he would ask, "Are we okay? Did I upset you?" But now that we have couple check-ins, if we are upset about something, that's the time to say, "Hey, you said this," or even before the couple check-ins. But, just couple check-ins, just make sure we're both on the same wavelength, on the same footing. Another thing is learning your partner's love language, and it is very, very, very important for distance relationships, because our love language is kind of different over, because when you're in a distance relationship, you have two types of love language. So in person, Trey's love language is physical touch. It's those intimate moments of just, he loves to be underneath you. He loves to cuddle. But over the phone is something completely different. He's more laxed, and vice versa. I'm becoming a physical touch type of person, but I prefer to, words of affirmation, communication. That's my love language. But when I'm on the phone, that's when I kind of like am more clingy and want to talk and, just want to be, that's when I'm just like, "I miss you, I want to hug you," stuff like that. So you just have to know your partner, and it's going to be hard at first. I'm not going to lie, because I thought I knew Trey, but it's a learning game. That's just relationships, distance relationships, whatever. It's a continuous learning. I'm not going to say game. Game is not the right word, but it's you evolve as a person every single day, and your relationship should evolve with those people, or your relationship should always change and be evolving. You should never want to be stagnant in your relationship. So yeah, that was it for this video. If you guys liked it, give it a big thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for Friday's vlog as well. But always remember, you are loved, you matter, and you are enough. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.